It's a privilege for us to have Satya Nadella here, the chairman and CEO of Microsoft. It's a proud day for NYU. Give him a big hand. It's not often that you see somebody rewriting history. I mean, you all know that a week ago, Microsoft reached $500 billion in market cap after 17 years. So we know he's doing something very, very right in that company. And not just that there's not a day that passes, including today, when Satya's views on artificial intelligence or all the other technological issues that are reshaping society are in sort of creating discussions throughout the planet, really, in every country. It doesn't matter which newspaper you turn or which conference you attend. Thank you for that. And by the way, I don't know if you all know this, but in a few months or so, his book, Hit Refresh, is going to come to a bookstand near you. So make sure we go out and look for that. It's a story of his life and the whole transformation he's been effecting. There's a couple of things I'd like you to know, Satya, about NYU and our schools. Welcome on behalf of the university, the Stern School of Business, and the Tandon Engineering School. For NYU, the number one academic priority for the next 3 to 5 years is investing in science, engineering, and technology. We are really committed to STEM education. The second thing I'd like you to know, and really it's true for all of us, is that both these schools, and this is true of NYU as a whole, are real institutions of creating opportunity. Just if the statistics at the Tandon School, for example, 46%, give or take 1 or 2, are students of the first generation to come to college and are on some form of aid, which is an extraordinary number. And for the first year, thanks to the efforts of the dean and the team, we've also had about a third of the class, the entering class, as women. And the employability of all of our students is the highest. We're rated very much on the top of the list. And the only other thing I want to say in that context is that there's an innovative program of training high school teachers, and I know that's a topic of great interest to you. And then we've got a program now to train 500 teachers, which has the potential to reach roughly 50,000 students. So we're really committed to STEM education at all levels of opportunity. And I really believe this, not just of Tandon, of Stern, but really of the university. We are really working towards the fact that the best is yet to come, because we are really about breaking boundaries between the different schools. It is not only about Stern, it's not only about engineering, it's not about the medical school, it's not only about the Tisch School, and we've got some extraordinary strengths in all of these pieces. But it's a lot about cross-disciplinary research and educational initiatives, which will, I think, in the next few years, reshape the curriculum and what we're going to do. So that having been said, I guess the challenge to you is that we can't do this without major partners. And we are really counting on you to partner with us in this transformation, in research, in students, and you run an extraordinarily sort of excellent company by all definitions. So we would love to see a lot more of our students benefiting through your own efforts and the flow going both ways. And more importantly, as we reshape the boundaries of STEM education in the country and in the world, because our students are also international students. But thank you again for being here. It means so much to us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. It's a very big, wonderful group we have. My name's Dede Audi. I'm a second-year MBA at the Stern School. I'm also a former Microsoft intern and a future full-time hire. Thank you for the applause, but it is my honor and great, great pleasure to welcome Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, here.
Thank you so much today. Thank you. It's really my privilege.
So in the essence of time, we're going to kick it off with a question or two and then open it up to the audience for a few more questions. If you have a question for Satya, just make your way to the microphone over here, and we'll get the questions rolling. How does that sound? Okay. All right, so shall we just get started?
Absolutely.
All right. So since stepping into your role as CEO, Microsoft's mission has been to empower every individual and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Can you talk to us a little bit about how this mission is driving the future direction of the company?
Sure. Again, thank you so much for inviting me to be here in NYU, and for Chandrika for initiating it, and that really warm welcome. The one thing that when you were talking and you said that I'm writing a book, and I'm thinking, God, I didn't think about finishing the book when I signed up. And so the pressure is on. I got to get it done. Look, one of the things, I've been at Microsoft for 25 years. And I'm a lifer, as one would call it. And pretty much all my adult life has been at Microsoft. And I've always felt that there is a particular place in the world for what we do. And that sense of purpose, that mission, I believe, is so important. I mean, technologies will come and go, business models will come and go, but perhaps more than anything else, and I understand that 3 years into my job more so than ever before, is that sense of purpose is what gives you the core direction on what to do, what new stuff to do. It's not about just the old, but the new. And I go back, in fact, to the very genesis of our company. When Bill, I guess, dropped out of school to found Microsoft, the product that he created along with Paul was the basic interpreter for the Altair. Clearly, the Altair is not the popular device today, but the lesson I take from it is we were born to create technology so that others can use that technology to create more technology. So when I think about our mission today of empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, it's not just a set of words. It's a pretty deep meaning for our identity in this world that we have in front of us. For example, we care deeply about both people and organizations. I think a lot of times you discount what the institutions people built. Because when I think about the individual pursuit, I mean, if you sort of even see Chandrika, the deans, talk about what they are doing, they are building institutions that are going to outlast them. And that's what the human pursuit is. And so when we think about even software constructs for us, we think about what are people going to do with the software so that they can ultimately build organizations of great strength. Of course, we think about it at global scale. I'm a product of that. I wouldn't be here sitting on this chair, definitely in my job, if it was not for Microsoft technology reaching me where I was growing up in India. And so I think deeply about that global scale and empowerment, not just consumption, but actually helping create technology. And then the last part is perhaps the most salient piece, which is perhaps the one that informs most on choices we make, which products we create, what categories we compete in, where do we innovate, which is not about our technology. Take even AI. The fact that, sitting around and celebrating 3, 4, 5 companies, including us, who have AI is interesting, but it's not it. It is about democratizing AI so that intelligence can get created by everyone and everywhere, in every industry, in every country, so that it helps all of us. That, to me, is what we want to do. It's not about celebrating any single parlor trick of ours in AI today, but can we take that and really, truly democratize it? So to your point, the mission cannot be just something that you put up in a poster, but it has to truly give you that sense of identity and purpose that you reinforce with the choices you make, in the products you create, how you show up with customers, how you show up with partners. We're a multinational company that operates in 192 countries. That means every place we've got to be able to contribute responsibly, and that's really where that all sort of ultimately is tested.
Absolutely. So Microsoft got its start by partnering with different OEMs to grow the Windows business. Every day we hear about advancements that are being made in IoT and AI and mixed reality. What type of partnerships do you see Microsoft making in these areas?
Yeah, it's actually fascinating. I mean, the three technology trends that you talked about, maybe we should talk a little bit about, sort of unpack that a little, and what each one of them means, and then the new types of partnerships. Take IoT. The fundamental thing about the Internet of Things is it's truly the realization of what I would sort of say is the direction of distributed computing. The idea that computing is going to become more and more ubiquitous, and then intelligence is going to be more ambient, is essentially what we see with the IoT trend, whether it be at home or in the industrial setting. And talking about IoT, one of the industries that perhaps has gone through the most change that I have seen in my professional life is the auto industry. I mean, what is a car in 2 years, 3 years from now is going to be like a new data center. If you think about the silicon that is going to be there, the amount of data that gets generated, the inference capability in the car, and the amount of training you do in the cloud in order to be able to then populate the right models in the car for being able to do object recognition or what have you, is pretty amazing. And so to me, that's what's happening in IoT. And so to your point, some of the partnerships we have with the American car manufacturers, the Japanese car manufacturers, the German car manufacturers, the Swedish car manufacturers. I mean, it's like what was the relationships we would have had with Dell and Lenovo and others in the past, we now have with people who are in the auto industry, to your point. Now, take AI as a separate strand, and you say, well, there isn't a business that's not going to be AI-driven going forward. I'll give you one fascinating recent example. We worked with McDonald's on an AI project. When I first heard that, like, what are we doing with McDonald's and AI? And the thing that came back to me is they're using speech recognition. I said, wow, speech recognition. How is that applicable in the context of McDonald's? It turns out the most mission-critical business process at McDonald's is the checkout lane, right? I mean, it's the drive-through. So if you can, in fact, train the speech recognizer for the ambient noise of a McDonald's drive-through and then record the orders very well, the throughput and the efficiency of a single store improves. So I look at AI not just in the abstract world record we may have in ability to do speech recognition at human quality, which we do, or the object recognition ImageNet competition we won with a 128-layer neural net or what have you. Those are all fantastic things that I'm very proud of. But it's the ability to work with Uber to improve the driver safety because of our image recognition technology, or a McDonald's to improve its drive-through efficiency. Those are really fundamentally the types of partnerships we want to form. I mean, more so than ever before, I no longer say, here is the tech industry and here is everyone else. If anything, whether it's a retailer, whether it's a financial services firm or an auto company or a pharma, they all are tech companies. And our goal is to form deep partnerships where they not only are using our technology, but they're creating technology.
That's fascinating. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say we've all been through mission-critical moments at the McDonald's drive-thru. It looks like we have a queue of questions. If we'd like to step up and ask one.
Hey, thank you for coming here.
Absolutely.
I'm a financial engineering student here, and I'm a .NET developer. So thank you again. You're the reason I'm employed. So a couple of months ago, I was invited to a recruiting event at Google for financial engineers and fintech employees. And this begged the question, why is Google so interested in these people? Okay, of course, they're technologists. But I was thinking, among others there, that Google has some interest in the finance space. And it made sense because Google has a tremendous amount of data that could be very useful to buy-side financial institutions like hedge funds. So this also applies to Microsoft. Has Microsoft ever considered, given its search data, Cortana, LinkedIn data, so on and so forth, ever getting involved in some aspect of finance or selling that data to buy-side financial institutions?
Look, I mean, two sort of sets of comments on that, overarching. One of the things that is very of paramount importance to us, and just given even the mission statement I talked about and that identity, is building real long-term trust with people we partner. What I mean by that is there are a variety of interests right now, right? Especially given AI capability, data capability that you have. One of the issues is for a tech company like us and others, pretty much as every industry is becoming more and more digital, you could say, let me just get into that space. And so it's super important for us to build long-term, trusted relationships which are backed with an economic model. Because to me, you don't want to go into something without that boundary being clear. Because having seen that movie before, if you do that, it just breaks down from a trust perspective. So specifically, we absolutely want to be able to take some of the signal we have, whether it's actually the most important signal more so than any data we may have on consumer activity is the cyber signal we have, to be able to use that as intelligence data for everyone else who's trying to protect their digital estate and really share that. But to your point, absolutely, there are financial firms, there are insurance companies that are doing underwriting processes that are fundamentally being changed because of some of the very specific signals you talked about. We have products, we have business models, and in many cases, one of the key things I remind our folks is most of the data is not our data. It is our customers' data, whether it's the consumer or it is the business. And so it has to be permissioned. So to willy-nilly take data that's not permissioned appropriately, it could be a massive breakdown of trust as well. But within those boundaries, we absolutely do have those kinds of partnerships.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for coming. I am a colleague of Ben, actually, in the financial engineering course as well. And my question to you is a little bit lighthearted. Is that everyone here is starting off in their careers right now, and you seem to have like this dream trajectory of growing up in India and then going on to become the CEO of this mega company. So what would be your suggestion to students at different stages of their career? Because I don't think anybody is facing as intimidating a situation as you did when you took over, because you had some really big shoes to fill in. So how did you take that on and stand your ground and not be intimidated by the legacy of Bill Gates?
I dealt with that for 25 years, I guess. And, it's fascinating. Growing up at Microsoft with Bill and Steve was always like being in a continuous math camp. You never felt adequate in anything. And I tell you, then you ultimately give up and you just be yourself. But I must say, the thing that perhaps defines me, and quite honestly, it has helped me even shape our own culture at the company, is what I refer to as the growth mindset. In fact, it was my wife who introduced me to this book by Carol Dweck probably a couple of years before I became CEO, called The Mindset, which I think puts it most succinctly in terms of what is a learning culture. The idea that two kids in school, one of them is a know-it-all and the other is a learn-it-all, you know how that story ends. Even if the know-it-all starts with more innate capability, the learn-it-all ultimately will do better. And somehow that bit got switched on for me very, very early on. I definitely did not think of finishing school as the last day of learning. If anything, I felt that that might be the first day to start learning. And that's been most helpful. I've not approached, I mean, of course, becoming CEO of a multinational company, I've learned, I mean, if you think about even in the last 3 years, if you had asked me, what do you think the CEO's job is 3 years ago, I would have given a very different answer than what I think it is now. And so that means, but you have to start in any new endeavor with that fundamental sense of curiosity, the ability to listen, the ability to learn, but also with confidence. And that is what now I am realizing, is you can't, that line between confidence and hubris is very thin, but you got to have confidence. Without confidence, it's very hard. But at the same time, you've got to be learning all the time. And so that's why I stress inside of our company this growth mindset. And it's actually funny because folks across Microsoft sometimes will come to me and say, Satya, we've identified the 10 people at Microsoft who don't have the growth mindset. And I say, well, that's not the idea. The idea is to be able to confront your own fixed mindset. That means I have to, this evening on my flight back, admit to myself all the things that I could have done better. And that is it, I think. And that prepares you not just for any job, but every job.
So we definitely have your wife to thank a lot for.
That's right. I mean, I have a lot to thank for.
Hello. I am a second year in Tandon too, and I am actually studying electrical engineering, which I hear you have some experience in.
Don't test me on it.
I won't. I originally came here wondering if I wanted to ask you, you've spoken a lot about your learn-it-all culture and your idea of making Microsoft work for you as opposed to you working for Microsoft. And I came here thinking whether or not I wanted to ask about my own personal growth and what I should do to cultivate that within myself or within an organization I'm trying to start. And since you've already spoken about being confident within yourself and everything, I'm wondering what specific actions you took within Microsoft in the past couple of years since becoming CEO to change the sort of culture within the company, because you've really turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing around culture was to not have this static model of here is, because the classic trap you fall into, especially in organizations, is to sort of think about cultural attributes that you're going to embody. And here are the attributes. And sometimes you want to go through a cultural change. You say, well, let's come up with 5 new attributes, and then we're going to unfreeze and then come up with these new things and freeze it back. And that model doesn't work. And so this learning culture needs that continuous work. And that's where this growth mindset really germinated from. Because I went on a search for what's the meme that we need even internally to be able to do that. And that's been super, super helpful. But you got to make it also very practical. If you sort of look at what is our business ultimately is about being able to meet the unmet, unarticulated needs of customers. Right? That's it. I mean, tech innovation is all about being able to listen, but not just listen, pass judgment on what to do based on what you synthesized by going much deeper than what is being even said. And if you say, well, that's the challenge, then you have to have that ability to connect at a deep level, have that empathy for what is the customer scenario. So what we refer to internally as customer obsession. That's a thing that all day today, I went and met with every GCFE in town and got schooled by them on what it means to do cloud adoption. That's where listening to them, understanding from them, how do they think about cyber, how do they think about low latency, whatever the case may be, and learn and then to go act on it. So customer obsession is one way we've changed. And these feedback loops from the frontline sales engineer to the product engineer, we just need to construct fast loops. The second aspect that we have focused a ton on is we say we want to empower the world, everyone and every organization. That means we've got to look like everyone in every organization in the world. So diversity and inclusion is huge. It's not just, it obviously starts by having a workforce that is diverse. But inclusion is a cultural piece that we all have to work on every day. It shows up in every meeting. Starting with me, am I able to actually conduct a meeting where everyone is able to contribute their best? Because we all come with different styles, we have different cultural upbringing, what makes us tick is different. So you've got to have leaders who are in tune with that. And that's not you've got to develop that. And so again, giving space for it has been super, super helpful. And will never be done. I would not by any stretch say at Microsoft we have excellence in it. I'll say one thing. We are going to every day of the week push to get better and better at creating that more inclusive culture. So those are some of the ways we're trying to live it. And it starts with each mindset. The beauty of this growth mindset is it's not some abstract thing. Most people think about culture as it happened to me. Except the culture is just a reflection of you and what you do in an organization. And the more you take responsibility for it, the more you feel empowered to change culture versus being stuck in some culture that you don't like.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, my name is Ishan, and I just wanted to thank you so much for coming. My question is just related to all of us. We have some of the most entrepreneurial people in the country and in the world sitting in this room, budding and hoping to one day enter the workforce, whether in a team of their own or for another company. So I was just asking, what would your one piece of advice be for the wealth of talent in this room?
Well, that's simple. Don't ever be a know-it-all. Be a learn-it-all. And don't stop there, but take all that learning and have real bias for action. And then, and we were talking about it in the green room with some of the faculty and the students. When I think about the opportunity ahead, there are two ways to look at it, right? That the world is fundamentally challenged because the overall economic growth is not what it used to be. We used to grow at around 4%. We're probably growing at half that, and that also in only a few parts of the world. And so if we are going to ever get back to strong economic growth, it's only going to happen because of people like you coming out of school with that, that energy, that passion to create, to innovate. These new ideas that you have coming into the world is what's going to help us as a society, as an economy, as a globe, make progress. And the other challenge we have is even if we create surplus, we're not going to have any stability in the world if we don't figure out how are we going to take that surplus that we create and make sure that it's equitably sort of spread across the economy. So it can't be centered in one sector of the economy or in one geography of the globe. It has to spread around the world. And seeing people around here coming to NYU, getting a world-class education, having an impact obviously in the United States, but everywhere else as well, is super important. So to me, that's it. Be not the learn-it-alls who have a bias for action, but who take that action and really help the world achieve its potential of economic growth and equitable growth.
Thank you.
Great. Well, to just wrap it up, if you could just share with us a little bit, what excites you most about Microsoft's role, not just within the technology industry, but within the world in the future?
I mean, for me, the core place of inspiration or energy that I get is to know that pretty much any walk of life or any part of the economy is going to be fundamentally transformed because of digital technology. Ultimately, it is the ingenuity of the people and the institutions that counts. It's definitely not technology. But the fact that technology can be the tool that helps any human endeavor get the maximum leverage is what's exciting for me. To me, that's who we are as a company. It's putting tools, in our case, digital tools, in people's hands, and not celebrating our success in having built the tool, but in celebrating the art, the entrepreneurial energy, the creativity, the productivity of the people who use this technology. And that's really what I look forward to.
Amazing. Well, on behalf of Tandon and please.
Okay.
Cool.
So, Mr. Nadella, thank you so much for being here. I would say one of the most important things I learned from you today is that technology comes and goes, but it's the important thing is the mindset behind that. The mindset that actually nurtures new things, learn it all, as you said, and that is the one that actually will change the world in which we live, hopefully for the better. So to thank you for being here, I didn't know what to give Mr. Nadella. He has everything. So,
You're mistaking me for somebody else.
the only one thing he doesn't seem to have is a necktie. We have here an NYU necktie. I will not open.
It'll be the most fashionable necktie.
Absolutely, absolutely true.
Thank you
So
so
I want to give this to
thank you so
on
much, Professor.
behalf of
Thank you.
our school. What he certainly does not have.
Thank you so much.
So I really believe, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Satya.
Thank you so much.
It's a real pleasure. I look forward to seeing you.